Hello and welcome to another daily casted match of Age of Empires 4. I'm Paragon RG, and we are on a new patch, folks. As of this week, I believe it was Thursday this week. Is that yesterday? Wednesday or Thursday? So I haven't watched Szalami since the new patch. Now, Szalami, for those of you that don't know, is a favorite of mine, in part because he's a Delhi main. So I'm really interested to see how he is adapted to whatever this new meta ends up being, adapted to the patch changes. Now, the changes have been almost strictly positive for the Delhi. This is already pretty interesting. Trying to figure out what's going on here. I mean, I guess he's just trying to deny bounty from the Rus. Wow, this is interesting. So let's jump right in here, folks, because there's already changes to the way Szalami is playing the first few minutes of his game as Delhi. So just a quick intro of these players. Szalami playing as Delhi in the red at the southeast corner of the map. The map is Mountain Pass. You will notice this. The only way through is here. In fact, looks like a very small entrance here and a pretty darn small one here as well, with Stealth Forest on the other side. So this map is fundamentally very, very wallable, at least this generation of it. And the northwest side of the Mountain Pass, we have Snoopa playing as the Rus, and he's in the blue. The Rus were hit a little harder than most with the latest patch, and looks like Szalami's just trying to get away with his scout alive, going to try to... Interesting that the wolf aggroed on blue, not red, despite, I think, red hitting him first with an arrow. But anyway, neither here nor there. That should be a fairly minor outcome in this game. Looks like all of these deer did go down. I want to so Snoopa right now at 100 bounty, which actually isn't very much for the 2-minute mark. So it looks like Szalami has done a pretty decent job of denying the bounty so far. Up to 115 now, you'll see in the bottom left corner. But of course, you need 250 to get to that tier 2. Let's hop over to Szalami's point of view. Probably from this point forward, just in particular because I am interested to see how he adapts to any changes. So, something to note, he didn't go for an early mosque, which I think makes sense. So, the Dark Age, it's not like the Dark Age technologies for Delhi have become better or researched faster or anything like that, but some of the important feudal age ones are now researched faster. So he gets away alive with his scout. And so really what you want is you want that mosque down maybe on the way up to feudal age, or when you know you can afford it, you have that spare wood and you can afford feudal age. That way, as soon as you hit it, you can click Sanctity, which researches faster now, and you can even build a second scholar last minute if that's what you need to try to get Sanctity a little bit more quickly. For those of you that don't know, Sanctity helps with taking the sacred sites, allows you to take them in the feudal age, and also provides plus, well, let's just say double the gold per minute from sacred sites. So instead of 100 per minute, it becomes 200 per minute. So mosque coming down for Szalami as expected, as well as the Dome of the Faith. So the good news is the Delhi Castle Age landmark is a little more up for grabs again. It's a little hard to know which one they will go with. Unfortunately, for their feudal age, it is still pretty obvious. People always go with the Dome of the Faith simply because the other one is pretty bad. I believe it's bugged. It, first of all, provides a smaller bonus than really it says it does. It's supposed to provide attack speed bonus to all infantry, but instead of 10%, it's really more like something like 7%, and it doesn't help. It only helps ranged infantry. So, woo! Look at this sheep haul. Very nice from Szalami. Let's take a look. So he's got Scholar in here, and going up with efficient production may put that on hold once he hits feudal in favor of Sanctity. We'll see if he does that. And there it goes. So keep in mind I don't know if it's the text in general, but definitely the Delhi text. They're the ones you see doing it. Can't just pause their technology. So rather than being canceled, they just sit here partially completed. And they can be completed at your leisure at a later date, of course, free of charge. Nice Delhi bonus. So, no efficient production. In fact, no military buildings whatsoever. Just the Dome of the Faith producing scholars directly into this mosque here, and Sanctity being researched, with 2.5 minutes still left on that. Going over to Snoopa's side, we see at least the stable and professional scouts. Interesting. And actually early nights coming out. So this is already a shift in what we would see Roost players do. They would generally go with that no gold approach, find a way to hit Castle Age without putting anybody on gold, then add warrior monks, then add horse archers, and usually they would use professional scouts to get to that point. Let's actually pop back over. 230 bounty. Not great. So maybe it's an artifact of being Mountain Pass. It's a little more difficult to get to all of the hunt and prevent your opponent from doing the same. But I really liked actually what Szalami did here. He pulled 2 villagers out. He was starting to make me think he was going to wall as well, but I'm assuming he just scouted them early on and figured, you know what? These are close enough. It won't waste too much of my villager time, and it probably just adds up. I mean, each one of these is 10 gold. So 2 villagers spending that time means that not only do you prevent that gold, but you prevent the bounty, which means his opponent would be in tier 2 by now. So that was probably just strictly a good move for Szalami. Let's follow these spearmen here as they march forward. There's the button. The home button on my weird, funky keyboard can be a little more difficult to find. And these spearmen are now being used to place some walls. Pardon me. I like that a lot. Really nice seeing Delhi players use the Delhi advantages. It takes so much idle time for your villagers to do the same thing, and it's risky, right? If a couple spearmen get sniped by some archers, fine. Not the end of the world. If a couple of villagers get sniped, you're now just strictly behind. So, really, really important play there from Szalami. This game now plays at his pace. His opponent has at least one early night. Probably didn't commit too hard to it. It doesn't look like he's aiming, like Snoopa is aiming for the Castle Age. He is trying to apply Feudal Age pressure, but these walls are really going to slow him down. Looks like he will snipe all of the spearmen from Szalami in this area. He actually has some more over here. But with them camping here, you know, they're probably not going to finish this wall. That being said, once this outpost goes up, all these units can actually hop into that outpost, fire on the archers, provide a little bit of breathing room, and finish the wall. And he will actually finish the wall right here and right now, so or pretty darn close to it. So this is Snoopa's Feudal Age aggression is very much slowed down. We'll see him hop in here, I imagine. There he goes. Doesn't quite kill one archer, but he can leave even just maybe, you know, 2 or 3 spearmen in there, finish off the wall if he needs, add more layers, whatever it is he wants to do. I wonder as well, you know what? He's figured out that the relics favor him clearly. So Roost players don't get a specific advantage relating to relics, but they do get warrior monks, which are just good at running around and grabbing relics, even if they've been nerfed a little on that front. They're now slower coming home with the relics than they were before. But if you look at the relics on the minimap, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these on Szalami's side as long as he walls. Now his opponent definitely, we can now see, was not going for fast castle in any way. And feudal aggression was tempered very much with the fact that he was going for a second town center. So we'll have to see how that pays off for him. We'll do a quick check now. 32 villagers for Szalami, 15 military, with 30 and 9. So interesting that he's actually behind it all. Makes me think that there's idle time on the town center of Snoopa, unless he chose really early on to add an extra scout, perhaps, and forsake building a villager. Another gate being added. Yeah, I mean, this is just going to cost so much time to push through. And he can now walk through it. So at his leisure, once he gets the units. He may even go for an elephant or something like that once he hits Castle Age. We'll have to see. Szalami very clearly is going for Castle Age, almost has the food he needs. It's absolutely shooting up. And the gold he needs is going to come pretty quickly, considering that, yeah, plus 66. You know, just like that, with a little bit of mining gold as well. Only a couple villagers on that. And he has what he needs. He has clicked up to the Castle Age and is going up with House of Learning. So here we go. We are now starting to see the House of Learning again, rather than the Compound of the Defender. Compound of the Defender became meta for at least a little while after the last patch, simply because the most important, holy moly, 22 villagers on this thing. He is in a hurry. He probably knows his opponent is teching or expanding behind this. Actually, he has the scout back here. He knows this town center is here, so he's in a hurry. But as I was saying, the Compound of the Defender became meta because for a time, Honed Blades was taking, without any scholars, 22.5 minutes, which is completely ridiculous. It was obviously a mistake. It's back down to, looks like 3.5, although that is with 3 garrison scholars, so I think it's about 5 minutes without them. So he's researching that right now, and within 3.5 minutes, his men-at-arms and lancers actually will be beasts. They're going to be really sturdy, and he's putting up another mosque, so adding more scholars now. He is in a hurry here. He wants to take maximal advantage of this Castle Age technology. And interesting as well that he got professional scouts. I find that really interesting. Where's that mill? Really cool to see Delhi players doing that. Actually surprised. Did the Roost player never actually... No, he did go professional scouts. We saw him research it. I was going to say, okay, he's now going over for these corpses. This is really surprising to me that he didn't go for these earlier. Potentially a bit of a mistake from Snoopa. Now, he has hit the Castle Age and has done so with the High Trade House. Gosh golly gee whiz, I have not seen anybody make the High Trade House in quite some time. Quite some time indeed. I'm not sure... I think generally people have just decided that the Abbey of the Trinity is a better landmark. But in this case, keeping in mind... Let's head over to the center here to see what action is on the way. Adding his own wall. He wants to do this under his own control, right? He doesn't want his opponent being able to run back and forth through here. Oof. Are they stuck? They're like on the wall or something? Well, that's awkward. Well, perfect timing for Snoopa there, catching the scouts of Szalami. But anyway, he wants this obviously under his control. But as I was saying, none of the there's only one of the relics, you know, on Snoopa's side of the map. So it does... Oh, no. He gets one villager. So Snoopa did not even get this relic. Now he's going to chase it down now. This is so annoying. I wonder if Szalami's going to try to get away, run down the clock here and get another conversion off, but it doesn't look like he'll have the time for that. We'll try to get away with this villager. I doubt he will succeed in doing so. We'll see if this... see if he hides in Stealth Forest, maybe? He might tuck away into here, try to get away. But anyway, really not much use building too many warrior monks without... Oh, they're even faster now. They're faster than the archers, I think. Let's check the speed really quickly. 1.5, 1.25. So yes, they are faster, but Snoopa cleverly running all over here to at least spot this scholar. We'll see if he does any head fakes in the Stealth Forest. Does not, but he really is just running down the clock. It is halfway run down. Does now go the other way. Okay, we're switching over to the other. He doesn't see it. Oh, this is so annoying. This is incredibly annoying. Does he get away with this relic now? It would just be so brutal if he does. Alright, let's go back to full sight here. Little scout battle. Actually, knight versus scout battle. Not exactly a fair one. And men-at-arms now starting to come out. Let's take a look at the House of Learning of... So, Szalami. So, honed blades are in. Go back here. Honed blades are in. And I think one other tech that I'm not remembering. Getting Tranquil Venue now, I think this is a why not kind of thing, and increasing the line of sight of outposts. I think it must be that house one. Whoa, hold on a minute. He hit in the Imperial Age while we were busy watching the Scholar running around willy-nilly, and actually, does he get away? He still has them. So he's 4 relics, and the other one. Where is the 4th? So he's gone up with the, what is this thing even called? The Palace of the Sultan, which produces war elephants. So production is on. You can see still a minute left to get his first war elephant out of this thing. Building a keep up front. Man, Szalami is just a beast. He's going for it. He's doing all kinds of stuff we don't normally see. Love to see it. All right, so what do we expect here? This Scholar will continue hanging out. His timer is replenished. Sacred Site has been taken by Snoopa on the other side, but we'll have 0 relics. I have to say, this game just feels firmly under control of Szalami. He's 1 age up. Now, one thing he does not have going for him is the number of villagers. Snoopa, though, is only 10 villagers ahead. I feel like I missed something. How is it that he's only 10 villagers ahead? There's no second town center from Szalami. Makes you think. Only 10 villagers ahead isn't enough. I mean, this accounts for a couple villagers because he generates more gold than his opponent does with the Northern Sacred Site. Plus, he has 4 relics. And there's a 5th one coming back now. Yeah, I have to say, Szalami has the economic lead. Now, he might not remain that way as long as his opponent continues making villagers consistently, which I'm not convinced he has been. It's possible he's slipped up a little on that front. Now, Snoopa, veteran horseman and crossbowman. Really, really interesting composition here. So I'm not sure. I mean, the crossbowmen should be good against men-at-arms and lancers. And then maybe any archers, maybe even some siege that Szalami mixes in. The horsemen will be better at dealing with that simply because they are faster, maybe have a little more hit points. But we see Tower War Elephant. You know, horsemen should be pretty good against Tower War Elephants. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure only 2 melee armor isn't really enough to deal with a ton of horsemen. Now, there are lancers here, there are some men-at-arms, and there is a bombard cannon. This is not a very large army, so Szalami does have to be careful here. I want to take a look. Let's see that 5th. Do we have that 5th relic? Look at that. This is exactly what you want to see. Of course, it won't show my box because I'm in cinematic mode. There we go. Highlighted. Yeah, 5 relics. You almost never see that. The map generation was very beneficial to Szalami, but let's face it, he put the work in as well. He was the one to wall. His opponent didn't have enough aggression to stop that wall. He used the Delhi's ability to wall more easily. And then he even ran a Scholar all the way to his opponent's side just to get the 5th relic. Bombard cannon taking out houses now, mostly being annoying. Snoopa has to be looking to run out here, and he can't wait too long. I feel like every little bit he waits is a potential disaster. I mean, even this thing is generating... this is generating war elephants, or tower war elephants, just over time. Now, this bombard is not looking long for this world. Veteran horsemen are converging on it very quickly. Bombard cannon does go down. A closer look at this battle. Elephants doing what they can. I think they're pretty outnumbered. I think Szalami recognizes that. Heads home immediately with his other elephant. Notice they do have crossbows up there. So these guys, I will check in just a minute. These guys are doing more damage than they would otherwise. Of course, that one's dead now. But this one we can see 15 damage plus 11 heavy for each of the crossbows that are mounted. Now, this could be more of an issue for Snoopa. I think Snoopa needs, you know, whether it's trebuchets or needs to hit the Imperial Age and get a bombard, because with this castle, it's just going to be so much harder to take out this wall. And of course, there's a bombard sitting behind it. Tower War Elephants have pretty good DPS as well, and are going to be pretty difficult to take down on top of that. So I think Szalami is starting to get into military spam mode. I love as well that he has always been a big fan of elephants. You always see him making elephants, at least in pretty much all the games I've watched. He's just determined to make elephants, to find a way to make them work. Gotta appreciate it. For a while, people were saying elephants are trash, but we just started, you know, people found uses for them. They're not necessarily your, you know, they're not the unit you want to mass. You don't want to push out with only elephants, but mixed in, elephants are really valuable. And boy, oh boy, I hope there is a mining camp going to be placed here, because that is quite the run otherwise. It's not looking hot. Sorry, boys. You have to make the long journey home. If you thought berries were heavy, try a sack of gold on your back. This mass is starting to look pretty deadly. Elite Spearmen from Szalami. Now, Snoopa has hit the Imperial Age. I'm assuming he put up the High Armory somewhere. He did indeed. We'll find a way if he's able to make use of that Siege. I'm not so sure Siege is what he needs. I feel like now that he's in Imperial... Well, a Bombard or two is good to have, because you do need to be able to push through your opponent, especially eventually if he pushes through all this, he needs to get through this castle, through these walls, through the outpost, deal with his opponent's Bombards, and so on. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a few Springolds. But the main thing is this army. How do you deal with this army right now? I think the horsemen are so hard countered by the spearmen. You don't even need that many spearmen to do it. And if he even adds like one regular war elephant, right now they're all tower war elephants, but regular old war elephants are incredibly good against cavalry. Really, really good. And there's hand cannons here too. Let's take... I don't get to see these things often. Let's take a look. Battle being met here. Szalami putting walls all along the front. He wants to make this a choke point. He wants to make this as difficult as possible for his opponent to flank him or create any surprises, building him with the hardy men-at-arms. Bombards coming forward, firing away at the horsemen. In fact, I think it might have even been a lancer that went down, or maybe a warrior monk. Springolds are coming forward to target down those bombards, so looks like... Ooh, they may not last long, though. I'm not even sure Szalami will lose a single bombard here, and these elephants are just so strong. This is the thing with high hit point units. If you don't kill them, they're doing their damage the entire battle, whereas with these smaller units, you chip away, and they do less damage as the battle goes on. But the core of Szalami's army here, these are just walking battering rams with crossbows on them. This is looking like it's over. I mean, what is Snoopa going to do? These things are going to take down... Yeah, with this Siege Workshop down, there's going to be very little he can do about the Bombard. Love to see that repaired as well. Except maybe get cavalry around on it. But he won't be able to deal with any more Bombards that come in effectively. Oh, the hand cannoneers are coming toward the back, trying to snipe the Bombard back here. These units are actually pretty good at dealing with siege, simply because they have such high damage, and the ranged armor is, you know, almost negated when your base damage is that high. And the Bombard goes down, Snoopa goes down, Szalami tanks him with an awesome unit composition, hitting the Imperial Age, showing us a bunch of stuff we don't normally see. Folks, this has been Paragon RG. If you enjoyed this one, check out some of our next matches. I stream and record these daily, so I will catch you next time.